Newcastle United lose 3-1 at the weekend against Brighton. Not the start to the season we all hoped for. Following that 5-1 win against Villa, it's been 3 tough losses against some tough teams. But it's the international break. It's a chance for Eddie Howe to get the players back together and get ready to kickstart again and get our Champions League campaign kick-started. It's not long at all until we play AC Milan at the San Siro, and Newcastle have released their Champions League squad list with some notable players missing that we'll go through. And it's even reported that some players could be missing for the rest of the season and beyond, as players like Lascelles, the Newcastle captain, are still being linked away from the club, despite the fact the transfer window has ended. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and a few little whispers coming out as to what Newcastle's new Adidas sponsorship deal could be worth in comparison to other Premier League team shirt sponsors, and how much that will give Newcastle a pretty big boost when that sponsorship comes in. As well as the fact that it's lovely and sunny here in Newcastle. We've got a great little view of the Millennium Bridge there, and this is Toon Tuesdays. Welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, guys, a series that I've been running for a good few years now, where we go through everything in the world of Newcastle over the past week. Some good, some bad. We cover it every week. So if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Obviously, it's the international break, so normally things quieten down a little bit, but in the world of Newcastle, there's always something going on. And as I say, yeah, it wasn't particularly fun at the weekend when we got a bit of a thrashing off Brighton, to be honest. I said it at the time, and I won't go on about this for too long, so do not worry. Great to see the young lad, Ferguson, really smashing it. Good for him. Massive praise to him. I thought he did a really good job. On Newcastle side of things, just disappointing. And that's the thing, don't take away from his goals. I think what disappointed me was how much time we had on the edge of the box, how much time we gave them on the ball. We just didn't look quite right, and I think that's when I said earlier that it's a good time for the international break. I think it's a good time for Eddie Howe to reconnect with what's going on and start trying to get things right again. We talk about a couple of players changing. I think Tonali looked really good in the first half against Brighton. I think he was one of the players that, for me, looked solid. But Tonali's here, he's there, he's everywhere, he's doing a lot of good work, but does that fit the system Eddie Howe's trying to play? And then, because Tonali's not Longstaff, Longstaff will give the ball to Bruno. He'll pass it to Miggy. Instead, Tonali's a good player. He picks the ball up for himself and he wants to make things happen himself. Because of that, it can potentially take other players out of the game, and it's a way to get them all working together. And that's what hopefully Eddie Howe is going to do this weekend. As I say, we take the international break in our stride, and if you did want to watch some international football, there is some on at St James's Park. Saudi Arabia play on both Friday and Tuesday night. If I'm not mistaken, they'd only put the East Stand up for sale, and it still hasn't sold out. And it's only £5 a ticket as well. So yeah, a bit of a mixed reaction to that. I think, if it was England, if it was Brazil versus Argentina, it would have been top of my list to be in there. And I think it would have been sold out already. So I think it shows that, yes, there are links to Saudi Arabia with the club. Is there any issue with having international games at St James's Park? Absolutely not. I actually went and watched Brazil play at St James's Park when Neymar scored a penalty. So I'm all for it. I think what people might be worried about is, Newcastle are kind of being linked with Saudi Arabia quite a lot, and now having them play football here, I can kind of see that. I think it's just the fact that there isn't much appeal for it right now. I think you could also talk about the fact that how much are they paying, to be honest. I think that's probably one of the big things. How much are they paying? 15 million for per match to use the stadium. Okay, that's quite a nice way to stick a bit of extra money on the old FFP. So yeah, you can see why you're doing it. So yeah, if you did fancy watching a bit of football, there is some available. And Newcastle Women's actually play this Sunday as well. So if you did fancy going to see them down at Kingston Park, there is still the opportunity to watch some Newcastle football this weekend. But what I think we're all looking forward to is those Champions League games. As I say, AC Milan is up first at the San Siro. It's short notice. There's no flights from Newcastle. I think everyone was hoping Newcastle might put some flights on, hoping that Newcastle Airport might just chuck some flights on. It's at the moment of recording, that is not the case. If you are going to the San Siro, or you're hoping to go, or not even go to the San Siro, just go to Milan and just be part of it, let me know down in the comments below. I have hopes to get to Dortmund. I have hopes to get to PSG as well. Unfortunately, Milan has just come a little bit too quick with work and life and money and everything else. So yeah, hoping to get to the other few. But yeah, it's going to be big. It's going to be exciting. Tonali returning to AC Milan. You know, cannot wait. But first of all, Newcastle had to submit their Champions League squads. And as you can imagine, we've got a hell of a lot of players right now, and there was going to have to be some players left out. Making that list are Manquillo, Crafty didn't make the list. Actually, I thought one of the two of them would have, but no. Eddie Howe has gone without both. I suppose Manquillo was linked to potentially leaving this summer window. Not as much so Crafty, but I suppose he is kind of coming back from injury, and if he's not ready yet, there's no point in putting him on the list. Gillespie hasn't made the squad either. I think we have about 1 million goalkeepers. We were even linked to buying Lloris from Spurs on deadline day, so it just shows, you know, Eddie Howe wanted even more goalkeepers. You know, you take 3. You take Dubravka, Pope and Karius. Gillespie, unfortunately, is going to miss out. I think the reason we were linked with Lloris, to be honest, was because Dubravka wants an exit, and if he was going to go, would have to get somebody else. But then I suppose we actually did have Gillespie, so technically speaking, he could have gone and would have had 3 players. Maybe Eddie Howe doesn't think that Gillespie's the quality that we need if we are going to need him. Another player was Matt Ritchie. He didn't make the squad either, so sorry to say Matt Ritchie won't get a feature in the Champions League, but great to see, you know, Longstaff, Bruno, Isaac actually doing a bit of a listening game where they were having to call out different players' chants. One of the chants or songs was the Champions League. So yeah, very excited to see it all go down. Great to see the squad list being announced. But as I say, Newcastle may not have put some of those players on the list. Could some of them potentially even still move on? We actually saw Isaac Hayden officially leave the club. That's post-deadline day. He is head off to Belgium. He was previously linked away pretty much all summer, wasn't he? But it didn't go through because he failed the medical. Strangely enough, when it's a loan, you kind of wonder why they wouldn't just take him anyway. And if it didn't work out, they just send him back. Put it in the clause. Wasn't fit enough. You have to take him back. Or if we don't want him anymore, you have to take him back. So, yeah, a little bit odd they all fell through. But he has gone now. We also saw Hendrick go to Sheffield Wednesday. But could we see somebody else go? Could we see Lascelles leave? Lascelles is being linked to a number of Saudi Arabian clubs. Strangely enough, they have been getting very, very active this summer window, and that has not let up following the ending of the English summer transfer window. It's actually reported that a Saudi Arabian team is going to put in a record 215 million bid for Salah after Liverpool turned down 200 million, which is absolutely mental. To be honest, I hope they put in an £80 million bid for Lascelles and we can move him on. Having said that, would Eddie Howe, you'd have to, wouldn't you? If it was 80 million, you'd have to accept it. If it was 10, 15 million, do you accept it? The trouble is now, and you know, if we're going to let players go, that we cannot bring in a replacement. We've already seen Botman go down injured. Great to see a few images of Botman actually back on the training bike, back trying to get fit again. So yeah, hopefully he will be coming in very, very soon. But even the likes of Matty Targett was linked to a move away to Fulham. I didn't think Matty Targett looked particularly smart against Brighton, but who did, I suppose. You think, yes, we can't replace them. Yes, we're going to have to wait till January, but if the chance to move them on is there, is it better taking it rather than never? Or does it come back and bite us in the backside when there is an injury and we haven't got somebody to fill in? I would actually say we've got a couple of youngsters coming through that I quite like. I don't know where the levels are, do you? Only Eddie Howe really knows that, but we will keep our eyes peeled. We will see if maybe there is a little bit of movement for Lascelles heading off before well, before the Champions League, before the window ends in other countries. We will wait and see. And I will actually take a moment in this video before we come on to Adidas to quickly mention I have been doing a Patreon. We actually hit 9 patrons now, which is absolutely fantastic. I did a behind the scenes video at the Brighton game. It didn't quite turn out the way I wanted, but yeah, in the pub, did a little bit of extra videos over on there. Days like the day, coming down here, doing stuff a little bit extra is all on the Patreon. I'm pretty much uploading as regularly on there as I am on YouTube. So if you want your extra Newcastle fix, Rubenstein fix, go and check it out. It's £5 a month. It helps me, it helps the channel. It helps me try and get to as many games as possible, maybe a couple of these Champions League ones as well. So yeah, if you can help support and get involved in the extra content, that will be tremendous. But to finish the video off, let's talk about Adidas. As I say, it's massive, to be honest. The Adidas flags, the logos have been all over Newcastle City Centre as Newcastle officially announced in the final episode of the Amazon series that we will be sponsored by Adidas next season. In fact, if you would like to register, if you would like to sign up and be notified of any updates on our new Adidas kit, you can do. Newcastle posted this on their Twitter. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. If you want to be notified about a kit that doesn't come out for, what, 10 months, 11 months, you can register now. So it just shows how many people are interested, how many people want to know more about it. You can register right now. I'm already registered because I've got a membership with the club. If you're a member or a season ticket holder, you're already in. But if you're not and you want to find out about the newest kits coming very soon to Newcastle, then make sure to go and check it out. But as I've said, when we got Adidas back in 1995, they had 200,000 home kits. They had 100,000 away kits. How many are they going to have this time? And now you've got to think that they aren't going to want to make the same mistake that Castore did and sell out on the first day. You know, people going in there, couldn't get a medium, couldn't get a large. So if that's how many were sold in 95, how many is it going to be this time? 1 million of each. Like, I cannot wait. I'm very excited. I've already spoken about the fact that I'd love to see kind of a return of maybe some of the classics with a modern spin. I mean, if Adidas want to make the big bucks and if Newcastle want the sales on that day, that's what you got to try and do, to be honest. I understand why some people might want to leave it in the past and have something totally new created. I get that as well. I think everyone's going to buy it regardless, aren't they? But if you did do a recreation of those 95 kits, you just know it will make an absolute fortune. But not even talking about that today. Not the fact that they could, oh God, I don't know, sell them for what, £70, £80, £90, and everyone will buy it anyway. So straight away, you know, that's times 1 million per shirt. You know, that straight away, that's even more than possibly what is being said to be the amount Newcastle will get for the Adidas sponsorship. As I say, if we sold them for 70 quid and we sold 1 million, so 500,000 home, 500,000 away, 70 million. Wow, that's more than the actual payment of Adidas is being reported as it is. What is being reported is 40 million. How does that sound in comparison to other teams? Well, I'll tell you. Well, the Manchester United one is 90 million. That's been quite heavily reported. Behind that, you're looking at Man City on about 60. They've actually got quite a strange one because they've got multiple clubs all using Puma, and it's kind of averaged out at around 60 million for Man City themselves. You've then got Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal, who are all around 60. Liverpool, Chelsea being Nike, Adidas for Arsenal, which again I think have had some pretty nice kits up till now, so I think that's quite a good sign too. And then Newcastle are being linked at 40 million, which is then ahead of, you know, the likes of Spurs, who are on around 30. Obviously none of this is official, and it is kind of just being, you know, spoken about as 40 million. Bear in mind that Castore themselves is reportedly at around 5 million. So, and bearing in mind what we were able to do this window, last window, on that tight budget, to now have the likes of a £40 million sponsor coming through, £70 shirt sales coming through, you could potentially be looking at around 100 million to spend, and then with FFP, you can still pay for those players off across the next few years. You look at what we did with the St. Maximin money. St. Maximin was only £30 million, and we've been able to use that and go and spend, you know, upwards of 120 million this summer window. If we are getting a guaranteed extra 35 million than we were with Castore, that can equal out to, like 120 million, because you buy the player, 5-year deal. If we're then selling 1 million shirts at £70 a go, you're now looking at 70 million plus the 40 million. That's 110 million across 5 years, 500 million. So when people are asking, how much of a big deal is it going to be? Is 40 million enough? Yeah, obviously you're always going to want a little bit more. And I do think as we hopefully become more established over the next few years and the deals grow and things change a little bit, we could be looking at an even more than that. But it's being talked about a little bit right now as to how much it could be. And I tell you what, I think it could really be a big impact for Newcastle. But that's where I'm going to end this video today. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's Toon Tuesdays. A bit of a nice background. You see there, the Baltic. You can see the Tyne Bridge just about in the background as well there. And the Millennium. Lovely and sunny. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you're still watching all this time later, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to go and check out my Patreon, please do. There's loads of content over there as well as on YouTube. It helps support the channel. Yeah, keeps me going. All right, guys, thanks for watching as always. Enjoy the rest of your week. As I say, no Newcastle United men's, but there is Newcastle United women's, and there is England drawn on Saturday. And yeah, if you want to go to St James's Park and watch a bit of Saudi football, you can do as well. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.